and the strong showing of Jim Hartung. And for the women, the charm of rising star Mary Lou Retton and athletic poise of Julianne McNamara. That's all today on The year was 1980, and in the United States, the sport of gymnastics was enjoying unprecedented popularity and growth. Inspired by the brilliance of Nadia Comaneci at the 1976 Summer Olympics, a new array of American youngsters like Tracy Talavera and Julianne McNamara were joining their countrymen Bart Conner and Kurt Thomas in the international spotlight. But then came the U.S. boycott of the 1980 Moscow Olympics. And when the United States selected its gymnastics team at the Olympic trials, it was a standout group with nowhere to compete. But that was 4 years ago, and now some of the would-be Olympians of 1980 have been joined by new American stars, Mitch Gaylord and Mary Lou Retton, and they have all gathered at Northwestern University for the 1984 United States Gymnastics Championships. Good afternoon and welcome to the National Championships of the U.S. Gymnastics Federation. I'm Don Fricke. NBC Sports is delighted to be back at this great competition, which has an added importance in 1984 because it's one of two events that determines our Olympic team. The athletes are tremendous and so is the pressure. You'll see them push the limits of this sport. And I'm joined today by a former U.S. Olympian, Rusty Mitchell, who's currently the head gymnastics coach at the University of New Mexico. Rusty, a great field and great pressure.
Oh, it sure is. I'd have to say that this is probably the finest gymnastic championships that I've ever seen. From 10 to first, there's 1 point difference. And the gymnasts have improved so much over the last few years that they're doing triple flyaways, flipping release off of the high bar. One slip, and it could cost them a chance of making the Olympic team.
The women are also competing, and later today we'll watch their event, the all-around. But right now, for a preview of that, let's go to Bill McAtee and Nancy Thies-Marshall.
Don, will get a chance this afternoon to see the emerging star in women's gymnastics, Mary Lou Retton. But it's important to keep in mind as you watch today that 40% of these scores for the women will count toward the Olympic trials. And Nancy, being a member of the 1972 Olympic team, you can appreciate probably how different this is for the ladies having 2 meets count toward the Olympic trials rather than just 1.
There's nothing like the tension of an Olympic year. You can just feel it down here on the floor. What that essentially means is that every move they make, every routine we see today counts towards their final score in attaining a spot on the Olympic team.
So tough competition among the ladies, but first the men. So let's send you upstairs to Don Fricke and Rusty Mitchell.
Thank you, Bill. After compulsory competitions, the reigning NCAA champion, Mitch Gaylord of UCLA, is in the lead, followed by Bart Conner, Peter Vidmar, and Jim Hartung, 4 of America's very best. We'll now watch some highlights of the early rotations in men's all-around competition. First, we'll see Bart Conner in the floor exercise.
Bart mounts with a round-up back handspring, full in, back out. Takes 1 step, takes center reduction.
Bart is twice a U.S. Olympian, going for his 3rd Olympic team, and he's mounting a comeback. Underwent surgery for an elbow problem and a torn bicep, so it's been tough for Bart Conner.
Well, it's tough right there. He missed a double back with at least a 3/10 deduction. Comes back in with a nice pirouette and goes to the splits. Normally he bounces right to the splits. He looks just a little bit off. Turns over, goes up to a V, presses through to a flange. Very nice. Presses up to the handstand.
Strength move by Bart Conner. This is an all-around event right now. 5 other events are going on at the same time. It's really a gymnastic equivalent of a 6-ring circus.
You know, Bart's always been an innovator, and there's a nice skill. He does a front flip to the knee. His tumbling has been off a little bit throughout the entire exercise, but he's going to have to finish very strong to stay in the running against Gaylord and Vidmar. Comes back to the dismount, a round off, back handspring, double somersault. Oh, look gas on that last pass, Don. I just hope he's not hurt.
There's no question that Bart Conner's stamina is lacking, and his score was a disappointing 8.70. This could be the athlete to beat Mitch Gaylord, who recently led UCLA to the national championship in gymnastics on the parallel bars, and he's great on them.
Mitch is probably best known for his high bar performances, but I think P-bars is one of his better events. That's a nice trick there. It's called a Healy. Comes into a flange. Swings right. Oh, nice back twist out of the half of the Diamondback. Presses to a handstand. If he just gets off very cleanly, he's got a great set. Double back, stick, superb routine, Don.
And the score is good, 9.90 for Mitch Gaylord. We've just received word that Bart Connor's withdrawn. For more on that, let's go to Bill McAtee.
All right, Don. Bart, you looked a little tired at the end of the floor exercise. Did that have something to do with your decision?
Yeah, that's really the problem. You know, I've been really working very hard to get prepared for this competition, and I knew it was pushing it to be ready for a competition that's 2 days in a row. You know, the compulsories and then immediately the next day of the optionals. At the final trials and also at the Olympic Games, I have a day off in between, and I feel in terms of my conditioning, I need that day off right now. My endurance is not quite to the point where I can go back-to-back 2 days really hard, so I need to get back home and do a little more work.
Okay, Bart Connors, that's the story. Don?
Thank you, Bill. A lot of people will be cheering for Bart Connors to make that Olympic team. Now we'll watch one of the great American collegiate gymnasts ever, Jim Hartung, who led Nebraska to so many national championships. He's going to go up on the rings.
Well, Jim Hartung is probably one of our most consistent gymnasts in the United States. He works within his capabilities. I personally like to see him work beyond them a little bit more. Mounts with a very nice strength move, a flange. Comes back in through to a handstand and does another strength move we call an inverted cross, maybe a tenth of a deduction at the most.
There's been a tremendous evolution in the sport of gymnastics, from slow strength moves on the bars and rings to swing, speed, and daring, and Jim Hartung's one of the best, as we'll see.
He sure is, and he meets one of the requirements right there about going to a handstand from swing. He's getting ready for his dismount. There's a double flip with a double twist. One step. A superb and clean routine by Jim Hartung.
The judges thought so too, Rusty. They score at 9.85. The big trick is what sets the great performers apart from the competition. The big trick is a specialty of Mitch Gaylord. On the pipe, as the gymnasts call it, the high bar.
What's this, Don? He does a flyaway with a half twist over the bar. Absolutely perfect. Comes back in, meets one of the requirements called an inverted giant. Hops out right to a stalder. Very, very difficult. Donnie's just right on.
This sport has become a test of the limits of the human body, where the laws of gravity are defied at every practice session, every meet. And look at Mitch Gaylord with a flawless performance on the high bar. Phenomenal showing by Mitch Gaylord. We'll watch it again in the slow-mo.
Mitch has this trick already named after him. It's called the Gaylord 2. You see him setting up with his mount. He does a back uprise stalder, one giant over the bar. He'll do a beat with a flyaway with a half twist and then re-catches the bar. Absolutely perfect. No deduction at all, Don.
Absolutely astounding performance by Mitch Gaylord on the high bar. And the judges show a perfect 10 score for Gaylord. So the 23-year-old Californian, the reigning NCAA all-around champion, hits a perfect 10 on the high bar. Here is another UCLA standout, Peter Vidmar, on the pommel horse, perhaps the most difficult gymnastic event.
Well, this is Peter's favorite event. He starts with a Magyar traveling spindle, which sounds incredible. I can't believe that anybody can even do it. He was one of the first gymnasts in the United States to go to a handstand, as he's doing right here. He's just a very solid performer, in control at all times. Has a little bit of a knee bend in front here. He's getting ready for his dismount. He starts down this way. He goes back to the other end. Don, this is a marathon set. Great routine, cartwheel off, Peter Vidmar.
Complex of swirling moves requiring great strength and momentum, and the judges surely liked it. They score Peter Vidmar with a 9.95. Standings after 5 rotations, Mitch Gaylord still in the lead, followed by Peter Vidmar, Jim Hartung, and Tim Daggett. Championships. Mitch Gaylord continues to lead through 5 of the 6 rotations in men's all-around. Powerhouse Tim Daggett of UCLA was 10th after the compulsories. He's really come on now, moving up to 4th, ready for the pommel horse, an event he didn't used to like.
Gosh, well, when I started the sport, pommel horse was just it was so difficult for me. It took so long to get the knack of it, but I had to spend so much time on it that I actually learned to really enjoy it. And I think when you really enjoy something, you can, really put your all-out 100%, your whole heart into it.
Well, Rusty, you've seen Tim Daggett many times on the horse. You have to use the whole apparatus. It takes great strength in the hands and shoulders, tremendous balance, and a lot of momentum.
He really does, Don. He captivates an audience when he works. I think Tim Daggett works and swings with a plenitude of power. He just is in control and just uses great strength with his swing. He's getting set up for his dismount. He walks all the way across the horse. He backs into the middle by hopping and goes through a handstand at the end. Very nice, awesome routine, Tim Daggett.
A tremendous display by Tim Daggett, West Springfield, Massachusetts, and UCLA. We await now the judge's decision on that. They have to turn ballet into decimal points. Tim Daggett in slow motion on the pommel horse.
Tim travels across the horse without using the pommels in a flare position. He hops back into the middle, spins off to the end with a half twist through a handstand. Just a perfect routine.
And Rusty, Tim Daggett knows it doesn't get much better than this. He had a great routine, and the judges give him a perfect 10. This, the event that was the nemesis of Tim Daggett, now one of his strong suits. A great performance. And now the pressure is really on the reigning champion in the all-around, Mitch Gaylord of UCLA. He goes up on the rings as the scoring shows only 7/10 of a point separates the top 3 men right now in the all-around.
Mitch mounts with a new move. I was really concerned about Mitch before this event, and that he had to change it because he pulled some muscles at the NCAA championships. He doesn't look like he's having too much of a problem with that very nice, unique back kick sequence.
Strong showing here can win a second all-around championship for Mitch Gaylord, and it's strong so far.
Well, he swings exceptionally well. He just does everything so easy that I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. He's getting ready for his dismount. He's done a great routine.
The dramatic dismount, well done by Mitch Gaylord, and it's going to be good enough. Mitch Gaylord defends successfully his all-around championship, and his score of 117.85 is the highest in all-around competition history in the United States. Mitch is with Bill McAtee now.
All right, Don, as Rusty said at the top of the show, it's expected to be a dogfight between Mitch Gaylord and Peter Vidmar. That's exactly the way it turned out. Just under a half a point separating the man to my left, the champion, the national champion, and Peter Vidmar. Now, the final event for you were the rings. I know that you changed your routine on the rings. Were you concerned at all that that might affect your score when it was so close?
My brother Chuck really put in me the confidence that I needed for rings. I was feeling a little like maybe it wasn't up to par with my other set, but he kept on telling me that it was, and I went out and performed it like it was, and I felt really good about it. It was a new set for me, and I'm glad I hit it. It's a good way to finish off the meet.
You aware you have a new American record?
I do.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks a lot.
Who says it's tough to be the defending champion?
There's a lot of pressure out there.
Mitch Gaylord, the champion of the United States. Don?
Well, America's Best Women will be on display shortly when we return to the U.S. Gymnastics Championships.